Hi, I'm Hazel. It's Saturday today, which makes it time to sit down and catch up on the WoW news of the week, what I have been up to, and answer some of your questions. This week we found out about the upcoming Hearthstone 10th anniversary event. This is not happening until March, so don't get too excited too soon. But there's going to be a free mount, the Fiery Hearthsteed, available if you log into World of Warcraft between March the 11th and May the 14th. And then a variety of other things to acquire during the actual event, which is May 11th through May 18th, have been data mined. Among those things, there's a 36 slot bag, there's a Hearthstone Compass Rose mount that looks like this, there is a Sarge Battle Pet that looks like this, and we don't have too many details yet on exactly how we're going to go about, bless you, getting those things. But it'll involve visiting capital cities, doing some kind of Hearthstone-themed battle, and shouldn't be too difficult to do given both the short time frame and the fact that it's like a promotional event. It's not intended to be like a Mage Tower. Other news this week, WoW Classic Self-Found mode officially has a release date. On February the 29th, you'll be able to dive into Hardcore Classic Self-Found, which I'm very excited about. For fans of Hardcore Classic, this is very exciting. It's both an excuse to go back in and a more challenging version because in this mode, there is no sending or receiving mail, no using the auction house or trading in any way. So you must use the things that you find and you must find the things that you use. You cannot just like get a bunch of gold and then buy best in slot greens off of the auction house the way that many of us did for regular Hardcore Classic. I am very excited to play this. I had a lot of fun on the first version of Hardcore, and I'm planning on going in on a hunter this time, or maybe a couple of hunters, depending on how it goes. So I've got approximately 2 weeks-ish before this launches for me to finish up any other ongoing goals and games that I have that I'm playing, and to pick my race and my professions. I did a Night Elf last time. So if I want to be Alliance, I have to be a dwarf. And I'm more familiar with the Alliance zones, which is good for safety. But I like trolls. Other stuff going on this week. In data mining, some Noblegarden cosmetics have been data mined ahead of the next holiday. This is pretty far in advance. Noblegarden doesn't come around until April, so again, don't get too excited too soon. But they have an armor set in 2 versions and a couple of colors from the trading post. Hopefully at least some of these are available from the holiday itself. There are notably no 3D elements on these sets, and they have been data mined and not posted, so maybe those are coming, but I kind of like them as is. I think they look really nice, and I do think that while the Love Witch set is an awesome transmog set, I've seen it around a bunch, and a good example of how cool a set can be with 3D elements, I do think that the amount of 3D elements on the Love Witch set made it kind of bulky, and I find myself just personally mogging like 1 or 2 pieces of it at a time, whereas I think that this set looks very nice without taking up too much space, so you can maybe mix and match it more easily with other elements without them all kind of overwhelming each other's like room. I've been digging the holiday update so far, so I'm excited to see what's in store for Noblegarden. But we're not done with Loves in the Air yet. There's a couple more days left if you're still out there farming your Love Rocket. I have not received my Love Armor for the Proto-Drake yet on my single chance per day, but maybe I won't. Sometimes you don't. And then in my life this week, I have been, for better or for worse, consumed by solo shuffle, by healing solo shuffle, because I want a vicious mount. And solo shuffle is not the fastest way to earn a vicious mount, but it is what I'm doing and I'm being stubborn about it. So I am now up to 68%. I've been streaming it, and I think I'm going to be streaming it for a few more days before we're done, but that vicious owlbear will be mine, no matter how many DPS I have to lose behind pillars to do it. I'll lose them all. And then questions for this week. Azumera asks, do you think at this point it would be better / more fun for the game / gamers if instead of reworking the talent system every expansion or focusing on complex systems like Shadowlands Renown, they'd stick with what they cooked before, like focus on more new dungeons, raids, mini-raid solo content like the Mage Tower, and balancing? So I thought about this one for a little bit, and I came up with an unsatisfying answer, which is yes and no. Yes, because often those new systems end up causing more drama than they do fun. And it can make you feel really behind to kind of come back after a break and then have to relearn all of these new things that feel super complicated that weren't there last time that you were playing. But on the other hand, no, because I feel like as soon as they stop trying new systems, it's going to feel like the game is almost over, like it's in maintenance mode, like the developers are just moving on and just wringing every last bit that they can out of it, you know, in whatever state it was when they decided to give up. I think that when they try new things, a lot of the things that they try don't work and aren't remembered very fondly, but some of the things that they try do, and sometimes they take something that didn't work and they kind of polish it and evolve it into something that we now wouldn't want to live without. I think that if they had taken that approach a long time ago, we wouldn't have things like world quests and Mythic Plus and dragon riding, or transmog for that matter. I think that because WoW is always trying new things, I personally don't worry too much about whether or not something's going to hit, because I feel like if it doesn't, then we won't have to live with it forever, because they're not going to stick to it for like 10 years. It's just, they're going to try it for like a patch or an expansion and then learn something and then move on. So somebody else asked me if I think that hero talents are going to work out or not. I don't know. Maybe. It seems like a lot of early feedback on the ones we've seen so far has been very critical, including from me. I didn't particularly care from the Oracle tree, but I want to see how they go live in the game with like a tier or two to play with them, to figure out if there's something there that we feel like would be missing if we didn't have it later, or if it was just a mistake and maybe they should just trash it and do something else. I totally get that it's frustrating, and I get frustrated too, to see them like sinking resources into something that doesn't look like it's going to do you any good at all. But I like WoW as an evolving property. I like that they change things, and because it's always evolving, even if I don't like it, I never have to not like it for too long. And things that I do like often find ways of like coming back as time goes on. So I'm happy with it, but I understand that not everybody might be. And then Califax asks, presuming the Dragonflight dungeons do not come back for Season 4, which I think they will, but if they didn't, which 8 dungeons from across WoW would you like to see as Mythic Plus options? So in that instance, or just for like a future season, if they were digging into the archives for 8 dungeons to bring back, I looked at a big list and I thought about it, and for inscrutable reasons, here are my picks for 8 Mythic Plus dungeons I'd like to see come back as a season. Number 1 is Shadowfang Keep, because I think that's a very cool setting, and with a little bit of updating could make a very fun key. Stonecore is my number 2 because it had some fun trash. I liked jumping for the giants, and again, some interesting and fun bosses. Third, Scarlet Monastery, because A, would maybe need a little bit of updating, but like a very cool, iconic setting to WoW, and B, because why should the SOD kids have all the fun? Number 4 is the Maw of Souls, because yes, we ran it a million times in Legion, but, we haven't run it since Legion. Legion was a long time ago. I bet you a couple people are nostalgic for it. Next, I have the Wad Auchendoon. I've been gunning for this one for a long time, partly because I like the soundtrack and partly because I think it has a beautiful setting and some interesting fights, although I could do without the RP. Then I have Mists of Tyrna Scythe because I wanted at least one Shadowlands dungeon on there, and that was my favorite Shadowlands dungeon, and I think a lot of people agree. Not everybody, but lots of people. The Motherlode because I wanted to pick a BFA one, and that one has a lot of fun and chaos going on in it, and kind of more flexibility with the route based on which trash that you want to pull. And then finally, Halls of Origination because nobody remembers it, and I thought it was kind of neat. It has more bosses than trash. It's one of those things that has like a lot of bosses, but at the end you're just kind of, well, I guess there's trash before the bosses. You do like the elevator thing. You've got like the 3 boss rooms off of that upper floor. I think that if you maybe strip the Bran RP out of that one to tighten it up for time, and because nobody likes waiting for Bran to RP, that could be a fun key too. And that has been my week. Thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions for a news video, please pop them in the comments and include the word question to help me find them. If you want to watch a live stream but you can't make the live time, I also post the stream VODs to a YouTube channel that I link in the description, so feel free to check that out at your leisure if you would like to. I appreciate you guys, and I hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful day.